Let's start with pirouettes from fifth position. These can be so tricky and they feel so awkward at first, but if you practice them, they will get better. So a couple things for our pirouette from fifth. Make sure you have both heels on the floor when you push off the floor, okay? A lot of people will try to kind of pop. They feel stuck. All right, when you're in fifth, you feel like, how in the world am I supposed to rotate in this position? And so they try to cheat and pop and then push off that way. But that is incorrect. We want to push off from 2 feet, okay? So correction number 1, both feet on the floor, you push off the floor with 2 feet, okay? Um, Also related to that, it's important to keep in mind for all these turns, the force that's generating the rotation, all right? So like turning is a physics concept, rotation, we need a force to create our rotation. For us, that comes from pushing our feet off the floor, okay? Or like into the floor and off the floor. So when you go up, right, you push this one down into the floor, this one pushes and comes up. That's where the force comes from, okay? It's not from throwing our arms or winding up or anything like that, okay? So you really have to feel the force coming off the floor, okay? And that can be a difficult thing to teach people. You just have to practice it and really think about it and really analyze your technique. Check for the heel popping. Um, yeah, it can be tricky though, especially in fifth. So don't give up on it. Keep working. What else? Let's see. Arms. I guess kind of related to that. Another very, very common thing I see, again, because people feel stuck, is they'll go to their plie and they'll even have a nice heel down. And then they will do this. They will start to twist their arms and then use their arms to turn them. Okay, that is also incorrect. And I understand from fifth, it can be tricky. But from fifth, you can either have an allonge, an extended arm, or a rounded arm. They're both correct. I was taught probably more this. So let me just focus on the arms here. When you go to turn, you need to think about this shoulder meeting or staying, not meeting up, staying with this hip. Okay, so as your knee comes up and goes backwards in your turn, this shoulder has to go with it, which means your arm kind of pulls in like that. What happens a lot of times is it kind of becomes disjointed. People will start to turn their knee, leave their shoulder behind, and then they feel like they can't finish the rotation because their arm and their shoulder is holding them back. So it's very, very important. And that goes for fourth position too. We'll get to that in a minute, that your shoulder and your hip are connected in your rotation. Okay? Okay, so that's kind of probably my top tips for fifth position pirouettes. Most people are more interested in fourth position pirouettes, so let's move on to those. Okay, let me show you from the side real quick because I need to point out a few things about the preparation position in fourth. So you can do pirouettes from fourth a couple different ways. You can do it from more of a what you think of as fourth position. So, at the bar, this is like your demi plie in fourth. That's your fourth. So that is one preparation. Another one is more of like a lunge. So you actually have a straight back knee to start, a bent front knee, and then right before you turn, you bend the knee and then go. That's actually how I was taught. So that's what I'm going to do mostly, but I'll try to show you both. But for both of those situations, if you look at me from the side, the most important thing, whichever one you're doing, is that the vast majority of your body weight is over your front leg, regardless of if you're a straight knee or bent knee. And that's actually why I like the straight knee, because I think that kind of more naturally puts you in the correct position. Because if you think of doing a pirouette kind of like you would do plie at the bar with your weight in between two legs, if you go up, it's very easy to fall backwards. So even in that two bent knees, it's different from your plie at the bar. You need to shift your weight more over the front leg. Okay, so even if you do this two bent knee version, hopefully you can see that my weight, it's not in the middle, it's shifted forward, okay? And that is important because, again, for rotating, just the physics of this, if you have all this weight you want to rotate around an axis, okay? And that's pretty much your midline, your body here. If if in order to get up and rotate, you have to shift your weight, maybe your back, you have to shift forward, that's probably going to knock you off your turn. So the more you can already be over your front leg, your standing leg, before you turn, then you're just going straight up. And then you can just rotate. So it's easier, okay? Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, and then similar to what we talked about with fifth position preparation, another very common thing I see is heel popping, and that's the back foot mostly. So often you'll see people pop this back heel up and then push kind of from just the ball of their foot. And again, remember the force for the turn comes from pushing off the floor. So you want to really use the whole foot. Plus, it's just correct to have your foot on the floor. So always make sure you have both heels on the floor. Again, that's whether you're two bent or one straight. So that's kind of that correction. And then let's see what else. I think just more generally, and this is more for adults who are first learning pirouettes, is knowing in each case, like, okay, if you're picking up your front foot when you finish the turn, where are you going to close? And that will kind of change combination by combination. So if you ever are not sure, probably best to just ask the teacher and clarify that. Um, Generally, when you're doing a pirouette from fourth, okay, which is this one here, if you're doing an en dehors, and that's that outward turn, en dehors pirouette, you're going to be picking up the back foot, turning, and then you put it back where it started, okay? So you're not changing, like landing in the front most of the time. You turn, oh, sorry for the hop, and then you land, okay? Do not do the hop that I just did. So that's en dehors. Now, en dedans is a little bit different. That one you will change. So you start in fourth. You're going to pick up your back leg to turn, and you might finish fourth in the front. You might finish fifth in the front. I will show you finishing fifth. That's probably more common, but again, you will see both. So for this one, you turn, finish in the front. Okay. Those are probably the most common scenarios. With fourth position, it might change class to class. For fifth, also it can change. A lot of times, I think en dehors, you will finish where you started. So you pretty much just do passe, come back down. En dedans, it'll kind of depend. En dedans from fifth, I would say more common is you start in the back, pirouette, close front, and hopefully not fall over like that. But that will, again, vary. But I get lots of questions in class about that. So I always try to make an effort when I'm giving the combination to point out where it starts and ends. But hopefully that's helpful, that you can kind of already have a heads up on the more common scenarios. Okay, so that's kind of pirouettes in a very quick nutshell. I feel like I could spend forever talking about pirouettes. Um, if you have any additional questions, so if there is something I did not cover in this video, please leave me a comment. Okay, I do my best to read all my comments and reply as much as possible. So leave me a comment if there's something you still are unsure of, or if you'd like a future video about something, let me know. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. And if you are not already subscribed, I would appreciate you subscribing to my channel. And thank you so much for watching. I hope this was helpful. I'll see you in the next one.